Jeff.
It's People to People, the People podcast of the DMV. It's not about you, it's not about me, it's about we and God we trust. Sir Rod and Lady Z, PTP. Good evening, guys. Good evening. Welcome to the People to People podcast. My apologies as we coming in. We had it scheduled to come in at 7 o'clock. And as you know, technology want to work when it wants to work. So my guests, we have the amazing Miss Brown, Andrea.
Andrea Smith Brown, yes.
Better known as Fearless. How you doing today?
I'm I'm doing great. And like you said, technology is a challenge.
Yeah. Well, you know, one of the things that I've learned, and this is in this business, now that a lot of people they ask me, why do you go live? I like being live because I want to be able to get the real reactions. I don't want us to practice anything. I want people to get the authentic individual whom I interview. But sometimes technology will do what it want to do, and sometimes it's not always on our end. But we make no excuses. So right now, I just want to get into this interview with you and talk about this motorcycle ride that you did by yourself. First of all, can you just tell us a little bit about yourself and what got you into riding a motorcycle?
Well, I've always had a desire to ride motorcycles. I rode a Ninja way back when they weren't popular. But when I say rode one, I think I only drove it. Actually, was in the driver's seat twice, long time ago. So that lit a fire, and I was in the military. And I went over to Germany, and I wasn't going to buy a bike until I came back into the US. But I got married and I was pregnant, and my husband was not a fan of the idea of his mother of his kids riding a motorcycle. So I put it off until my youngest child, who will be 24 this year, until she graduated high school. So in 2020, in October 2020, I got my license through Harley Davidson. They give classes and you can take the class. And if at the end of the class you pass the test, you get your license. You just show up at the DMV and they look you up and they give you your motorcycle license, your endorsement, that M on my driver's license.
And so it basically was just something that you wanted to do personally, and you put it off, and then you decided, okay, hey, I'm going to get into this and enjoy myself.
It's my time now. Yes.
Okay. Now, we chatted a little bit prior, few days ago, and you named this ordeal an epic adventure.
This is my, I turned 60 in September. And one of the things I said, my 60th year is going to be about epic adventures. So this is my, and I honestly all meant that on motorcycle. So this was my first major ride this year. I usually do two, but this is the first time I've gone this far. I've gone to the West Coast, which is something I have been wanting to do for about 3 years. So I finally was able to get it done.
Okay. I've always had a desire to ride a motorcycle. I never did. Still contemplating on possibly doing so. I get on a horse and ride a horse, like, me and the horse been friends all our life.
Yes.
But the motorcycle, I kind of like haven't really got the nerve to go buy one. Talked about it, but haven't did it. You being a woman and taking on this journey to ride alone by yourself, what kind of mindset did you have to be in?
Um, I was just determined that I was going to do it. I just knew that this is what I wanted to do and that I was going to do it. There was never a question in my mind if I could do it. That never was a question. I it was something I wanted to do. I'll tell you what my issue would have been or was with the whole situation is making sure I had enough capital to get across and get back. I didn't want it to be a burden and to make sure my bike wasn't going to fail me. So that's what I focused on. It never dawned on me that, hey, I'm a female riding by myself. And I never looked at it like that. It was just, I want to go on this ride. So I'm going to do it. I just got to figure out how to get there financially and get back home.
Well, one of the things that I commend you on, and that is, and I think that what I want people to get out of this interview is to understand when you have a desire to do something personally for yourself, then you should just go ahead and do it.
Right.
And your intention wasn't to get this publicity or say, hey, everybody, look at me. This is what I'm doing. You was just trying to satisfy a personal adventure for yourself.
For myself. All the attention that I'm getting is all organic, and which makes it even better. I never once said anything to anybody about getting attention. As a matter of fact, I'm on TikTok, and I told the my TikTok audience, which is less than 1,000, I told them that I was going to make the ride, and that was basically it. Um, so lo and behold, the attention is not coming from TikTok. It's coming from elsewhere. So you never know who you're going to inspire. But I did at the last minute. I did people who really support me and think that what I'm doing is phenomenal. They I offered them to follow me via Apple location or Life 360. And those that took it, a lot of people, a lot. I stopped counting at 50. A lot of people followed me and followed my journey. They like seeing where I was on the map. And then every day I would recap the day before and then tell them what I was doing the next day. And so other than that, I didn't reach out. I didn't make this everybody's journey. It was my journey. And if you were really excited for me and you were happy for me, I was like, hey, okay, you can, if you want to follow me, you can.
So again, a lot of times when we do these interviews and we have these conversations, we share our adventures. We have other people who may just wanted to walk a mile who haven't been able to walk a mile before,
Right.
or maybe somebody who wanted to run 10 miles and never been able to do it, but that was their bucket list, or somebody just wanted to go to the mountains. Um, what advice would you tell an individual at the age 60 and above as far as moving into direction of fulfilling life desires?
The one thing I think people really have to understand that life is unpredictable and it is short. It is not infinite. It is very finite. And if you have a desire to do something, um, I think you should, I research a lot on my trips. So I don't just get on a bike and take off. I do a lot of research on where I'm going, what I'm going to do, how I'm going to do it. Um, so I think it's one step at a time, 1 mile at a time, because when I first started riding, I just rode around I live on an island. I rode on this island for about a month because I was too nervous to go across the bridge. Finally, one day I had to go across the bridge. I got across the bridge, and then, oh, I'll ride to work. I rode to work, and then it's like, it just became, I kept adding on miles. So everything is done in increments. It's if you just have to, if you really truly desire to do it, as they say, as my friends say, you eat an elephant one bite at a time. Just take it small steps at a time, develop your plan and do it. Now, the one thing that I encountered was, as far as me going across the country, was there were people that told me not to do it, that I didn't need to go by myself, that I was, number one, I was a female alone. And then, anything can happen. Anything, this can happen. But in my mind, that could happen right around the corner. So, I'll deal with it when it happened. I never had any, I never have any negativity going forward. I just deal with whatever happens when it happens.
I like that you said that, and that's something that I think the audience would want to take away from your journey. Not thinking negative, looking at the positive, and then moving in a positive way of thinking when you get into the process of fulfilling your adventure. That just positive energy will come to you.
Right, right,
And
right.
as you were coming into different locations, you found yourself being greeted by people.
Um, so when I left, so I did have a destiny. I call them my turnaround points. I have to have a turnaround point, or I'll keep riding. I'll explore and I'll keep riding. So um initially my turnaround point was Tulsa, Oklahoma. I was going out to the Black Wall Street, Tulsa, Oklahoma, the Tulsa Massacre. Every May they have a rally, which I'm gonna tell your audience that you do not have to be on a motorcycle to go. It is a beautiful cultural experience. I highly advise anybody to go drive your car, fly, do whatever, get there. But it just so happened that we that ride motorcycles, that's a destination, but it's open to anybody. That is very, very much worth attending. So I was going to Tulsa, and then I was supposed to come back to Savannah. Lo and behold, my doctor, I'm a dental hygienist, and my doctor closed the office the next week. I figured I was one third of the way already there, so why not go out to uh what is it? Where did I go? Out to California and turn around and make the ride back. So one of my driving forces is that I collect state signs. That's kind of a thing in the motorcycle community. Not everybody does it, but I collect state signs. So in my mind, I could go and collect the state signs that I need. That's going to be in the Midwest and going south. And so I wrote out to I made my plan and I left. I went to Tulsa. I knew I was going to stop in Colorado Springs. I knew I was going to stop here, and I knew, I had an itinerary, but I know that it would the possibility that it would change, and it did because I ran into some snow. So I had to reroute myself. Yeah.
If I may ask,
Mhm.
by you doing this uh, epic adventure, what did it do for you personally with your morale, with your desires, with your belief in yourself?
Well, one of the biggest things that I got from the adventure was that I am okay with who I am. The somebody said, on a motorcycle riding by yourself, you had better like yourself, because that's all you got while you're out there riding. You're going to spend a whole lot of time with yourself, and you think, because I mean, I have music, but just like in a car, you turn it off or turn it, you want to listen to something else. But the thing about in a car, on a bike, you cannot go to sleep. You have to be alert the whole time. So you tend to, I did a lot of self-reflection, and I realized that I like who I am as I am today. It took a lot for me to get here. Um, I'm not, this is developed over the last 5 years of me riding, um, being by myself and having to think without interruption, or think just to, you know how thoughts come up and you can't escape it. So for me, it let me know that I appreciate who I am, and that I am enough the way I am, and that I have the right to go. I don't have a right to be who I am and do what I want to do and see what I want to see, and that I don't have to wait on anybody else. That's the biggest thing, because if I wait on anybody else, more than likely I'm not going to do it. I have invited people on this ride. I've invited people on other rides, and they somehow they don't want to do it. Now, with that being said, doing this ride, I realize that that's okay. Everybody doesn't have that desire that I do. Everybody doesn't have the stamina that I have, and so it's okay. It's okay for me to be by myself.
Do you have any plans to do this again, or is there something else on the horizon that you have in the future?
Yeah, I need the Pacific Northwest. So I am, I have never been to Sturgis, which is a big motorcycle rally, which I'm not, forgive me, people, I'm not that excited about going to Sturgis per se, but I want to go to the area where Sturgis is. Um, where that's where Mount Rushmore, the Badlands, Yellowstone, all of that. So I want to go see that area. And then I want to go see Washington State, Oregon, Wyoming, and, that up there. I want to see the Glacier National Park. I want to ride the road to the sun. But with that being said, if I have a big project coming up, it would be going to Alaska. I want to, I'm talking with some people about us taking adventure bike classes. Those are the ones that can go off road. That we take those classes and then we ride our bikes to Fairbanks, Alaska, and then rent adventure bikes. Um, the Dalton Highway is a very kind of a rural, rustic kind of a road, and I would rather ride an adventure bike up that road than to ride my bike. I had somebody tell me they rode their bike in 2023 and they still have dirt in places that they just cannot get out. So I would rather I would rather rent a bike when I get up that far and ride it in, dirty it up, and then come back and ride my bike back. To
Right.
so that's the biggest trip that's going to be is, and if I have my way, it'll include Sturgis, and it'll include you know Oregon and Washington State. I want to go to see the sequoias, the big trees out there at Sequoia National Park. um what drives me in that sense is that I watched on the History Channel, I watched a show called The Story of the U.S., and it talked about how the U.S. was built from the East Coast cross. And so that piqued my interest. So I wanted to do that when I was just driving a car and never got around to it. But now that I ride the way I do, I'm pursuing that. So it's meshed.
So also, and I was thinking, while you're doing the riding, do you find yourself that spiritually then because I don't know what your spiritual background is, But did you find it where you connected with the spiritual aspect of the earth?
You know what? That's a very good question. So I believe in God. That's my, everybody, I call him God, and the Holy Spirit, and Jesus the Christ. So I talk to them every day, and I do believe. Well, I am not gonna say I believe. I felt them. So I knew they were with me. I know the Holy Spirit was talking to me, and I know that my guardian angels. I know twice that my guardian angels were on me. They had me. I had two experiences that in general I don't talk about, because but I had two experiences where I know that my guardian angels were on guard. So I got to I was in a back country of Colorado. I went up Pikes Peak, and I came down Pikes Peak, and I was on my way to the $1 Million Highway. You guys should look those places up. $1 Million Highway, beautiful road. And these roads can be ridden in cars too. They'll be just as phenomenal in a car, I believe. But the difference between being in a car and being on a motorcycle is, in a car, you're watching the movie. In the motorcycle, on a motorcycle, you're in the movie.
Yeah.
So that's the difference, but you can still see the same movie. It's just much better being in the movie. But riding through that, I was going through this back country, and it was the Rio Grande Pass. A pass out there is through the mountains, cut through the mountains, and generally the elevation is something crazy. And so I'm riding, and first thing I do is I lose my music, because I'm losing data. It's not connecting. And then the next thing, I lose my phone, my data. So everything, I'm up there and I'm completely alone, 6,000 feet up a mountain. And I'm riding, and it was just awe inspiring. Like, it was so majestic. I stopped, and I had just had to stop and just feel everything. And I stopped. I didn't get off the bike. I just stopped, because I'm not crazy. I was up there by myself, and it was in the middle of nowhere. So I know I didn't want to just stay out there. I didn't know what kind of animals was coming out. But I stopped long enough to feel what it was there. And it was absolutely just awe-inspiring. It was so beautiful. In my head, I kept saying, who decided to come back here and cut through God's country? It was majestic. And it's a feeling that I don't know how to make people understand. You have to be there. But I can just tell you that it was something that I know it was a God moment.
But for all the guests who are probably just tuning in, again, we apologize. We did start late, but that's okay because I was determined that I wanted to interview. I call her nickname given Fearless, but Miss Brown, she is phenomenal. She's a individual who chose to take a solo ride on a motorcycle and do it alone. And so when you was riding into the day, what did you sometimes ride into the day and then into the night before you decided to stop?
Before I decided to stop. So each night I had a destination. I already had a hotel reserved. Um and I can tell you on I know that I didn't give myself enough time to breathe. So when I was in Colorado, I went up Pikes Peak, we'll talk about that. But I went up Pikes Peak, and I came down. Later on, I realized that something that phenomenal, I should have stayed another night in Colorado Springs. I should have stopped so that I could really take in everything that I had just went through. Um, but in general, I had a room set every night ahead of time. So, but I was well open to change. Whatever happened, I had 14 days to do everything. I had what I gave myself two no ride days. That means I was going to stop somewhere and not ride anywhere and rest. And so I had the time. I could have, slowed down. So I wasn't really worried about where I would end up if I couldn't end up where I was supposed to be. And that happened twice because of snow. I had to stop short. And then the night that I left Santa Monica, I was supposed to go to Tucson, but I have a handler. My handler said, "Nope, you need to stop. You've been on the road too long. We're going to get you a hotel." And they actually found me a hotel and told me where I was going to stay, where I was going to stop. Because they know I'll keep riding. They know I'll ride until I just
The wee
exhaust.
hours.
Yeah, yeah. And so I had promised people I would not ride at night, and I ended up riding at night twice. But I absolutely love riding at night because it's peaceful and there's not a lot of traffic, and it's just a very calming thing for me versus during the day.
Do you as a motorcyclist do you get into a rhythm where you are listening to your bike and you actually get in? I mean, explain that to me. How is
It,
it when you get into that ride? What is it that you got that makes it so unique that so many people want to do that?
the 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 hum of the bike, that movement of the road, the smells, the just the movement. It's a dance. It's a steel horse. That's what we call it, the steel horse. So if you know riding a horse, that feel on a horse, it's
Right,
the same thing. And but you have to be careful because on a motorcycle it can lull you into um not sleep or whatever, but and that kind of blinder thing, like you don't even realize you're riding.
right,
You
yeah,
just, all of a sudden you're like, oh, wait a minute, I'm on this bike, I better. And but as long as a motorcycle has power, it's going to stay up. It's built to stay up as long as it's getting enough power.
right.
So I've never put myself in danger where I am um um I don't know, zoning out to the point where I don't control the bike. That's never happened. But you have those moments where you realize you're so into the ride that you're just into the ride. You're not actually doing anything. You're just there. I don't know if that makes sense, but
No,
yeah.
no, I got you. I got you. That's another. It's stories like yours that make me realize how important it is for you to live life and don't let life live you. Put
Right.
yourself in a position where you fulfill your personal desires so that you are able to actually get a relationship with the Holy Spirit.
Right.
And we have Yah. I many times say Yah, Yahshua, who is
Yes.
our God. Um, that you'll find yourself to say, "Hey, I've done this," and it's something that you could pass on to your children and to your
Mhm.
grandchildren and your friends and other riders, and say, "Hey, only thing I can tell you is the experience was breathtaking."
Right.
You know,
Right.
and so when I was listening to uh, your journey, and actually, many people don't know that you're related to my wife, and my
Yes.
wife was following you, and she was telling me about what you were doing, and I became interested, and I was like, "This is amazing." A lot of people would look and say, "Oh, she just ride a motorcycle." No, what you did is you put yourself in a position where now you took on a journey that could easily went the opposite direction.
Yeah.
But now you got something that you can bring with you for the rest of your life and say, "Hey, I did this.
I did this.
You
That's
know,
and that's
and you
I
did
did.
it solo.
I did it. I did it. I didn't let somebody talk me out of it. I did not I did it. They call me fearless. I say that because I don't say my name is fearless. I say they call me fearless. I was given that name, and I was given that name, and I believe I earned it because of the things I did when I first started riding. I started riding with a group of men who were riders, so they have influenced my riding, but I had to keep up with them. I had to do what they did, and they call me fearless. And that's when I say that I'm talking about. I call them the Trinity. It's three of them, and Cajun, Hip Pocket, and Road Rage, and the Trinity. They made me. They call me fearless. There's some more in there. Dino, Anubis, my brother who helped me learn to ride when I first wanted to take the class. He took me out and prepped me for the class. So Anubis is very important because without him, I didn't have my start. But I ended up riding with all of them, and they were phenomenal to me. They didn't treat me like, oh, she's just a female on a bike. They treated me like a person that was on a bike, and they treated me the same as they treated everybody else. And I really truly appreciate that.
And also, I would like to give a shout out to the other interview you did on the if you could tell me the gentleman's name and his podcast, and because his podcast is about riders, isn't it?
Right, right. So I have an interview on there. If you can find my interview, it'll explain his side of starting. It's called Sarge Life and Motorcycling. And it'll explain his part about the I-10. So the reason my destination was Santa Monica Pier is because I wanted to start the I-10 end to end. Um, I could start it in Jacksonville. It runs from Santa Monica to Jacksonville, I-10 does. And I could have started in Jacksonville, but I was in Tulsa. And I said I was already a third of the way there. So why not go on over to Santa Monica? It didn't make sense to come back down to Jacksonville. But however, he started this. He said, I just learned the whole story on my interview that it started during COVID around the same time that I started riding because, um, in the motorcycle world, we go to other people's parties, other clubs' parties, and that's kind of a thing. You go around to these parties, but at that point, you couldn't congregate. And so, what around the world, he started is called the I-10 end to end. And it is an international but association um, endorsed ride. So you go from either way, you go from Santa Monica Pier and you stay on I-10 all the way to the other side, which and I came back to Jacksonville. So when I got to the Santa Monica Pier, I took a picture, and then I sent the picture to him along with my Life 360 because he does follow you all the way back. And there's what they call the Iron Elite ambassadors along the way, people who live along the way. If I need something, they're going to help me. And so I had one of the easiest rides in my life, and I think I had one of the easiest rides within the group. I had no problems. I had no problems. So I felt like I cheated them. But
So, so
his name is Sarge, and on Facebook it is the Iron Elite page. So I am considered now an Iron Elite, and I am a ground pounder, officially a ground pounder. So his name is Sarge, and is Sarge Motorcycling Life and Motorcycling on YouTube. He
okay.
would he would appreciate you acknowledging that. I thank you for that one.
That and it's all about networking. It's all about building. It's all
Yes.
about the adventure. It's all about us saying, "Hey, we live life. We do not let life live us."
Yes.
We know that this was not an easy task, but what you done, and it's not. I don't want to keep rapping and going on the fact that you're a female because it doesn't matter. What matters is that what you have inside of you, which says, I can do this. I
Right.
want to do this. Many people have dreams that they're afraid to follow. But I
Right.
say anything that you can conceive, you can achieve.
Yes. Yes.
And what you've done is proven that again for many people to say, hey, if she can do it, I can do it.
Right. Right. And if all of this, like I said, is organic. If I can inspire one person, one female, one male, to get out and ride, and I've had men come up and say, I'm not being disrespectful, but if you can do it as a female, I know that I should be able to do it, and I'm not offended by that, because that's not what it's about. It's about inspiring people to ride. I love to ride. I get a ton of, they say, wind therapy, and to me that wind therapy is very real. So I love to ride. I get antsy after a while, and I have to take a ride. I'm already trying to figure out what I'm going to do in maybe about 2 weeks, because I know within about another 2 weeks I'm going to want to get on and take a long ride. So I'm trying to figure out where I'm going to go, and it's going to be a short long ride, but it's going to be a long ride. Um, so yeah, the about the female thing, I did this. I'm number 315 that has done it. So to me that's significant. It's not that many. I'm still at in the bottom of the barrel with building it. But if I heard him right, only 16 have done it solo, and I'm number 16.
Oh
As a
man.
female, that means a lot. So that's male and female, and I'm pretty sure there's more males than females that have done it solo. So it's a great achievement for me.
If you don't mind me asking, do your husband ride?
No, he knows how to ride a motorcycle. If he really wanted to ride, he could, but he doesn't. He doesn't. My son learned to ride with me. My son took the class. Well, no, he didn't take the class. When I came out of the class, I taught him what he needed to know in order to pass to get his license. And so he rides. His son rides. I taught his son. I taught two of my grandsons to ride. It's a snowball effect. So my son learned to ride, and then two or three of his friends learned to ride because we taught them to ride. So it's been a snowball effect. I have my little people underneath me that I influence, and I appreciate it, and they're all loving it.
So me being a former Marine, whenever I travel throughout the United States, it doesn't matter where I go, even if I'm outside of the country. When another Marine realized that I'm a brother in the Marine Corps, he acknowledged or she acknowledged. Isn't that the same way with bikers?
Yes. So with the climate of the U.S. right now, that was one of the worries about me riding by myself as a black female. Let's be honest. I could not carry my help because I was going into states that did not play when it came to carrying help. So I had to leave my help at home. There's like California. California, if you're not a resident, don't even think about it. And one of the other things with California, somebody said, called me while I was out there, said, I just want to check, are you have your help with you? And I said, no. They said, good, because California is known for stopping out of state bikers because they know we carry help. But I chose not to. So I was vulnerable in that situation too. Um, but being a female, black, and on a motorcycle in the middle of places that nobody like me were. And that is real. Once I left Tulsa, it wasn't until I pulled back into Louisiana that I did not see anybody else that looked like me. So, but in at the Four Corners, there's a place called the Four Corners. It's on Navajo land, and you pay $8 to see it. I thought that was worth it. It's helping the Navajo community. So you go in the Navajo land, and it's the four corners. It's Utah, Nevada, New Mexico, and Colorado. It's a point where all four of those states come to it. The point, the Navajo has made it a monument. And you go and you pay $8. You go in, and when you go in there, they have stalls around where the Navajo people can they can plug up. I'm not plug. They can they sell their crafts. So it's really interesting. But when I got there, I pulled up, and I have this beautiful picture of me in the middle of, I think it's 8 burly white men. And when I got off my bike, they started approaching me. For whatever reason, I wasn't nervous, because in general, bikers don't, they're not just going to approach you like that if something's going on. But they walked up and they was, hey, where you coming from? Where do you? And we had this great conversation. Um, they were finishing the Route 66, and they were on their way back, and they talked to me about where I was going. They gave me tips. They told me what to do, what not to do. One of the guy, I have a picture, and the guy that took the picture was their safety officer. They called him unofficially. The guy checked my bike out. He checked my bike out, and he said, make sure you get XYZ done, and you're gonna need new tires as soon as you can get new tires. Like he embraced me, and he didn't see color. I didn't see color, and we were good. So
I love it.
yeah, yeah,
That's another thing that we find when we do things that are intriguing as just human beings. Sometimes race doesn't play a factor. It's
right,
like, hey, you know what? I'm a lover of this. You're a lover of this, and we can get
right,
past that negativity. And
right. And
and
that's what
so
it felt like. That's what it felt like. It's like, you no, you're a biker. I'm a biker. That's all we know. We're bikers, and we can talk bike, and that's what we did.
Well, kudos to those gentlemen that approached you. Kudos to the safety inspector who checked your bike out. I hope that
Right.
you paid attention and did exactly what he told you.
I did. I did. I have tires on order right now.
And so now, when I asked, and I may have mentioned this a little early on, do you really have another major journey that's going to be a challenge for you in the future?
The one going to Alaska is going to be a bit of a challenge. Um, that's going to take a little bit of planning. That's next year. Hopefully next year, August 2026. That's what I'm thinking. That's what I'm working towards. So now, with that being said, I have to raise money for that. Um, it's going to cost a lot of money, and so I'm at close to retiring. So robbing the retirement account is not a good thing right now. So I try to um, um, save for these trips. They're separate. They have their own separate account, own separate card, all that, so that it's not interfering with what I still have to live. So one thing about, and I kept saying, if this is for you, it's for you. If it's not for you, I still love you. Still follow me. Still talk to me. Still interact. It doesn't matter. But out of those 60 or so people, about 20 of them sent me money to here, buy gas, here, some food, and it helped. It helped. So I end up coming home with money, and that's how I'm getting the tires. So anything towards my trip, I don't know how I'm going to raise the money yet. I don't know how I'm going to get it done, but I'm going to do something to help cut the cost on that, other than just throwing my own, hard-earned money in there.
Well, they say a closed mouth don't get fed. So
Right, right,
it's an
right.
opportunity for whoever may possibly see the interview. If they wanted to make a cash donation to you, how would they go about it?
Um, so I am on IG as She Rides 912. I'm on TikTok as She Rides 912. I'm Andrea Smith Brown on Facebook. I am I am fearless on Cash App. It's Fearless Biker Girl. Um, or they can get in touch with your wife.
And so they can definitely
Um,
come
yeah,
through.
yeah. I'm
People
actually, you know
podcast.
what? I'm actually on YouTube. I tell people I'm not so much as entertaining as interesting. Like if, you know, people get on and they have the videos and all that. I just post everything raw. It's just what's happening. I don't try to make it a big epic video. So they can follow me on She Rides 912 on YouTube. My initial thought on that channel is I want my great who whatever platform they're on, hopefully they can find me and say, hey, wait a minute, that's my great grandma.
Yeah.
And she was a badass and she rode motorcycles. That's why I want to ride a motorcycle.
How about
So
that?
that was my initial thought, was to just document me so that down the road somewhere somebody, one of my ancestors, could find me. But now that I'm really getting into it, I'm not going to try to create this grand channel, but I am going to, be a little bit more attentive to it.
Well, I again, I salute you. I think that what you did was awesome, and I understand why they call you fearless, because it takes a lot of nerve to do what you did, and for your family members, they should be very proud of you. See, some people can look at it and say, "Oh, that she just rode a motorcycle. Oh, she just rode into the night and whatever." But just think about the moment when you was in the mountain and lost all connection. You do you know that at that time that had to be why your name was fearless.
Right.
You know what I mean? You was
Right.
able to embrace it. You was able to stop. You was able to enjoy that serene moment. And
Right.
so that's just so amazing. And again, I want everyone who came on to the podcast talk show to see you, to salute you, and to know, don't be envious or jealous. Let's say you go, girl. Let's
Right.
say job well done, and we
Right.
salute you with the utmost respect. And I just think that what you did was amazing, and I
Thank
think
you.
that anyone who watched this interview, we not just sit on here chit chatting. I'm actually realizing some of the things that I wanted to do in my life. I need to do them,
Yes.
and and
Yes.
and it gives you that opportunity to be able to say, "Hey, I lived life. I didn't let life live me." Because sometimes we'll find ourselves as we get older, we be saying we wish we would. We'll talk about what I could have, should.
Right. Yes. And that's what I do not want to do. I told God, I said, I would like to be happy when I die. And I don't want to say, I wish I had.
Yeah.
I do not want to say I wish I had. And one of the things is I wanted to see this beautiful land of ours. I believe the US, the this North American land is very beautiful. Um I've seen some of Europe because I was in the military, but before I go trespassing off in Europe again, I would like to see home. Let me start at home first.
What branch of the military?
I was in the Army.
Okay, thank you for your service.
Thank you for yours.
It was a pleasure.
It definitely was, and I'd do it again.
And me too. And
Yep.
and that's the other thing that I found as we most military individuals, we have this something that's just a little bit uh, help us get over the hump. You
Right.
know, when they say when it start to get a little rough, the tough get going.
Right.
That's when you dig down,
That's
and and,
yes.
and your experience in the military as we went through the boot camp preparing us for the things that we had to endure going forward. You
Right.
pull it out in life and say, hey, this is what we trained for. This is
Right.
what we were prepared for. So
Right.
I salute all military individuals and give them nothing but the utmost respect, especially
Right.
for anyone. I tell them that once you made it through boot camp, let me tell you something. They dig deep down inside and find out which some of your weak areas, and they build them up, and they get you
Yes,
where you're able to become fearless as you move
right.
forward and be able to say, hey, I can do this. I
Yes,
thank you so much for the opportunity to interview you. Please, everyone who joined in, please go to YouTube and subscribe, hit like, and know that Andrea
yes,
she's just a motivating individual. She's no different from me, you, and them, but
right.
just somebody who made her epic adventure come true to
Yes,
a level where she'll be able to share it with so many of us. Peace
yes.
and blessings to you, and you continue to do you.